Women Today.
Hello and welcome to the programme, and this afternoon we are once again on the Conister Rock, where we invite our guests to share with us music and memories. We also have an extensive archive which you can find on the Manx Radio website. It includes former chief ministers, authors, sports stars and musicians, and do keep your suggestions coming in. If there's someone you would like to hear on the rock, email us and let us know. It's womentoday@manxradio.com. Now, today's guest will be a very familiar voice to regular Manx Radio listeners, and you may have heard her just a moment ago doing what she does best. Born and bred in the south of the island, she is someone who really proves that you can take the girl out of the Isle of Man, but you can't take the Isle of Man out of the girl. Because despite having lived in the UK and for a year in America, she was determined to one day come home and take up her dream job. And that she did, proving that despite struggling with certain subjects at school, if you really want something and work hard for it, then you can achieve it. Well, we are more used to hearing your voice from Rollsway Met Office rather than seeing you in person, but it is so lovely to welcome you here today, Kirsty Pendlebury. How would you fancy being marooned on Conister Rock?
Oh, this week in the sunshine, it wouldn't be too bad, would it? Although it looks a bit breezy out there at the moment, it has to be said.
I am fascinated to know, first of all, if you can ever go anywhere without somebody asking you about the weather. It's a bit like a GP always being asked health-related questions, I'm guessing. Yeah,
it is a little bit difficult, especially when I first moved home. I felt I needed to know what was going on with the weather all the time in case somebody asked me, but it's a lot easier now to switch off than when I first was here. But yeah, it is one of those occupational things. Unfortunately as well, it's very difficult to switch off because the British public are obsessed with the weather, aren't they? So they always want to talk about it.
It's true. I mean, it's a fail-proof conversation starter.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that, do you think?
I don't know. I suppose it impacts a lot of people on their daily lives, what they're going to do with their work or activities they want to do. So that's probably the main reason why. I suppose we have very changeable weather, don't we? Especially on the Isle of Man.
What is your favourite kind of weather?
Sunshine. Although having said that, because the Isle of Man's so lovely, I think even on a stormy day, actually, I quite like watching the waves splashing over. So either a really stormy day or a really nice sunny one.
Have you chosen any songs this afternoon with a weather-related theme? I'm thinking Weather Girls. I'm thinking Blame It on the Weatherman.
Not particularly, actually. A lot of these songs are important to me for various memories that they bring back to me when I hear them, to be honest, more than anything.
Look forward to hearing those as we go through the show this afternoon. But I do want to ask you, first of all, before we move into more of the background to you, why did you want to be a weather forecaster?
Well, very oddly, it was because I saw the film Twister. When I was 11, my parents took me to the Palace Cinema and we went to see the film Twister. And from that moment onwards, that's all I've ever wanted to do. And I've always been interested in weather since then and wanting to be a forecaster. Luckily, I haven't seen any flying cows, which is good news.
You weren't going to be one of those people who chase tornadoes?
It's still on the bucket list. I definitely want to get out there and see if I can see some. Some of my friends from England who I used to work with have been out there and done it. So it's definitely on the list. I've just not got there yet.
Well, Kirsty Pendlebury, I did mention that you were born and bred in the south of the island. Just tell us a little bit about your early years, those childhood memories that you remember.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time with my mum and dad. I'm an only child, so it was a lot of time with my parents, and also particularly in the summer holidays, there was a lot of time with my grandma. She used to look after me a lot when my mum went back to work, so we would quite often do day trips out. We'd start off at Ballasalla, get the train to Douglas, horse tram along the promenade, electric car all the way up to Ramsey, and then a bus back through Peel, back to Ballasalla. So it was a full day out, normally with a lunch stop somewhere on the way as well. And just really special memories for me, all going up to my uncle's farm as well and seeing the animals up there and playing with my younger cousins.
When you look back, were the days always very sunny, as they always are when you go back down memory lane?
Yeah, my mum was recalling the other day, actually, one of the summers when I was about 3 or 4, when apparently every day we used to get up, go down to the beach and spend all day there with my friends from across the road, neighbours actually. We used to play all day in the sun, have tea there, and then we used to get brought home and hosed out in the in the garden before we were let back in the house. So yeah, I definitely do remember nice hot sunny summers.
You went to Arbury Primary School. What sort of little pupil were you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, I don't think. Quite chatty. Probably told to stop chattering quite a lot, I would have imagined. But on the whole, I don't think I did too badly. Albury was a great start for me, and I have a lot of good memories from there. One of my really good friends from play school, or two of them actually, I'm still really good friends with today. And so I've made some really lifelong friends there at Albury.
Outside school, you did also enjoy many outings with Albury Sunday School, including a memorable trip to Morag Park.
Oh yeah, we used to go around the island on the Sunday School picnic, and we ended up at Morag Park. And there was a rather unfortunate incident where the vicar was out in his rowing boat, and I'm not sure exactly what happened, if the oar fell in the lake or something, but he definitely got stranded on the middle of the lake at Morag. And someone had to go out and rescue him. So that kind of delayed having the tea in the hall afterwards, but quite a humorous event anyway.
Well, the other reason you are here, as well as sharing memories, is to share with us some favourite pieces of music. And we suggested there weren't any weather-related ones, although I suppose we could kind of push it with this first track, which is a Bryan Adams one. Yeah,
I think if you asked any of my friends or my family what would be my favourite song, this is probably the one that they would go with. Basically, I don't really know when I became interested in Bryan Adams, but it was fairly young, and especially on my 18th birthday, this song was my absolute favourite at the time. And on that day, we went to the pub, as you do on your 18th, and this song was on repeat on the jukebox by me. So my friends hear it, and I think they still probably think of me now.
I got my first real six string, bought it at the five and dime, played it till my fingers bled. Was the summer of '69. Me and some guys from school had a band and we tried real hard. Jimmy quit, Jody got married. Should've known we never get far. Oh, when I look back now, the summer seemed to last forever. And if I had the choice, yeah, I'd always wanna be there. Those were the best days of my life. Ain't no use in complaining when you got a job to do. Spend my evenings down at the drive-in, and that's when I met you, yeah. Standing on your mama's porch, you told me that you'd wait forever. Oh, when you held my hand, I knew that it was now or never. Those were the best days of my life. Oh yeah, back in the summer of '69. Man, we were killing time. We were young and restless. We needed to unwind. I guess nothing can last forever, no. Yeah. And now the times are changing. Look at everything that's come and gone. Sometimes when I play that old six string, think about you, wonder what went wrong. Standing on your mama's porch, you told me that it lasts forever. Oh, when you held my hand, I knew that it was now or never. Those were the best days of my life. Oh yeah, back in the summer of '69.
Bryan Adams, Summer of '69. That used to be your ringtone, did it?
Yeah, it did actually, for quite a long time.
And you also got up quite early to queue for tickets when he came over here.
Yeah, I did make my boyfriend at the time get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to come and queue with me, but we were second in the line and we were on the second row on the floor at the villa right there. I could almost touch him, Beth. It was amazing.
Queuing early for things clearly runs in the family, because your mum was quite up early recently to get some tickets, wasn't she?
Yeah, for a certain Gary Barlow, 3 or 3:30 in the morning, I think it was. She got up. There was no way she was missing out on those tickets, that's for sure.
You're listening to Conister Rocks here on Manx Radio. We'll be back in just a moment.
The Nation Station, Manx Radio.
Women Today.
And this is Conister Rocks. Lovely to have you with us. Our guest is the weather forecaster, Kirsty Pendlebury. And Kirsty, we've heard what you were like at primary school. After that, you moved to Castle Rushen. What was that time like for you?
I really enjoyed my time at Conister Rocks. I made a lot of really good friends there, which a couple of them I'm still really good mates with today, and always have been really supportive for me, especially because to a certain extent high school wasn't the best for me, particularly as I got towards A-levels. Part of the issue with knowing what you always want to do as a job is that unfortunately if you're struggling to get to that, then it becomes quite a challenge. And when I was doing my A-levels, I had to do I needed AS maths and physics, A-level maths and physics really to get onto my degree, and maths was never really my strong point, so I actually failed my maths AS twice. I went to the head teacher and begged and said, please can I stay another year? All my friends are going to uni, I know, but can I stay another year? Can I try again? I really want this and I really want to go and do this degree. And she let me. And I do remember one of my teachers at the time actually saying to me, you failed it twice before, what makes you think that you can do it a third time? And don't know, sometimes maybe you need somebody to say something like that to you to really make you go, actually, I'm going to prove to you I can do it, actually, because it's what I want to do.
Was there ever a point there where you thought, actually, I'll just give up and I'll think of another career path? Is there anything else you would have wanted to do?
Well, that was the problem. There wasn't really anything else I wanted to do. Someone said to me, why didn't you go with the grade you've got? You could go and you could be a teacher. And like going to university for me was never going to university for the experience, really. It was more because I wanted to go to get the qualification to do the job I wanted to do. So I think I'd have really struggled to have thought up a new path for myself, really, if I hadn't have managed to get through it the third time. But luckily I did, so it's all
So
good.
it was third time lucky, and you did well, didn't you?
Yeah, I went from a fail to a grade C, and then I was 2 marks off a B, put in for a remark, and they found the 2 marks and I got upgraded. So from a fail to a B in a whole year, that's not too bad, really, was
That
it?
is incredible. I think it's time now for your second piece of music, because it kind of seems to fit in with what you've just been talking about there. And this is another one that was a ringtone for you.
Yeah, this one has been a really important song for me for quite a few things, and I think for a lot of other people the words are probably quite meaningful as well. But it's Kelly Clarkson, and it's What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Stronger.
You know the bed feels warmer, sleeping here alone. You know I dream in color and do the things I want. You think you got the best of me, think you've had the last laugh, bet you think that everything good is gone. Think you left me broken down, think that I'll come running back. Baby, you don't know me 'cause you're dead wrong. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. What doesn't kill you makes a fighter. Footsteps even lighter. Doesn't mean I'm over 'cause you're gone. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, stronger. Just me, myself, and I. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. You heard that I was starting over with someone new. They told you I was moving on over you. You didn't think that I'd come back swinging. You tried to break me, but you see what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. What doesn't kill you makes a fighter. Footsteps even lighter. Doesn't mean I'm over 'cause you're gone. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, stronger. Just me, myself, and I. What doesn't What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. What doesn't kill you makes a fighter. Footsteps even lighter. Doesn't mean I'm over, 'cause you're gone. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Kelly Clarkson, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And we were just talking about your struggle to get the maths grade that you needed, but you did incredibly well in the end to get a B. I just want to know whether the teacher who questioned you going for it for a third time, saying there was no point considering you'd failed twice, did you ever sort of, say anything to her about that?
In fairness, I didn't really have to. She came back to me at the end of the year and said, I'm really glad that you've proven me wrong. And I have bumped into her on the island since I've been back and working at Ronald's Way. And she said, I see you finally got where you wanted to. So, I think I proved her wrong quite well there.
We have a text in. If you'd like to get in touch this afternoon, it's 166 177. I don't know if this means anything to you. I love the banter between Kirsty and Chris Williams, but he really does need to get Kirsty that tiny tears.
Yeah, he really does need to get me that tiny tears. I was told him one of the presents that I've always wanted for Christmas from my mum and dad, which I've never ever been given, is a tiny tears. So I feel a little bit deprived that I was never ever given one. And my mum actually nearly resorted to buying me one for my 25th birthday when we were away and studying Hamleys in London. But she, in the end, I was like, no, it's all right, don't worry about it. So I have been guilting her a bit about it, and Chris knows about that. So he keeps promising me one. He told me what he sent it for Christmas 4 years ago. I'm still waiting. It must have got lost in the post.
Oh, just tiny tears that you're crying at the moment because of the lack of that. If Mum's listening, maybe this Christmas needs to be the time. Anyway, so we've heard about you at secondary school. You then did go on to university. You went to Reading. And I just want to know what it was like for you, having come from such a close-knit family, how you found that first move away from home.
Reading is a really nice place, and the university was a campus university, so that was good. It was very green. It had a lovely lake on it and ducks and stuff, so it felt a lot more rural than it actually was, because Reading's really quite a built-up city. And it was relatively straightforward to get home, which was good, but I did really struggle and miss my family and miss home. Technology these days helps a lot more. It was still a little bit more in its infancy then, so I was able to sort of Skype my parents and speak to them and get to see them, which made it a lot easier. But generally speaking, I'm a very homely bird. I always have been, and it is quite hard going away to university. And I wasn't the sort of party girl at uni, really. I did work hard. I had a part-time job as well. So most of my time was with my head in my books, trying to make sure that I got through the degree, really, more than anything. So I did find it quite difficult being away from the Isle of Man, and took any opportunity really to try to get back.
And what was the degree?
It was a BSc, a Bachelor of Science in Meteorology, with a foundation science year beforehand. So I had to do that because I didn't have that full A level in maths. So I only had the AS. So ultimately it was one of the best places, or it was the place in the country to study. It's the only place that does straight meteorology, and had very good links with the UK Met Office as well. So that was my main drive, to go to Reading and to study it there, really.
Were there many other women studying at the time?
Yeah, there was actually on my year. It was the one of the first few years where actually there was more ladies on it than there were men. So it was sort of definitely an up and coming sort of thing with the science side, that there were more girls getting interested in it as well, which was good.
Now, once you graduated, you moved to a small town called Moscow in Idaho in the USA. How did that come about?
One of my friends had said to me, when you get this letter through the post from the Isle of Man government about the Ella Rollison Scholarship, you need to apply for it. So I was like, all right, okay. And my friend had applied for it and been for the interview and not quite got it. So I put my application in about how I was Manx and how I loved living on the Isle of Man, and I could promote it as an ambassador. And I remember getting a phone call on the afternoon after the interview saying, do you fancy an early Christmas present because you're going to Idaho in August? And then I was suddenly like, oh, okay. I hadn't really thought about the fact that I might actually win it and be going off to this place in the middle of America to live for a year. But it was one of the hardest experiences I've done, and one of the most amazing experiences as well. I was a bit surprised I got through the first 2 weeks because I did get very homesick. Quite a bit of culture shock, actually. I remember sitting in Seattle airport and thinking, oh, this is really weird. I've just been to the shop and I've been paying for my sweets or whatever it was in American dollars. I don't know what a nickel or a dime is, and CNN is on the TV. It was a bit like, well, where exactly am I? And then when I arrived at the airport, where near the university. The most strangest experience, it's actually smaller than Ronald's Way. It was a tiny little hut. The arrivals lounge and departure lounge was all in the same room. There wasn't a conveyor belt, and this metal shutter came up, and basically they just chucked your bags at you from across the other side of this metal shutter, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm in America. I thought it was going to be really big and massive as everything you see on the TV is, and I was actually somewhere that seemed even smaller than Ronald's Way. So that was quite a culture shock, to be honest, but really great experience.
And overall, how significant would you say winning that scholarship was for you?
Totally life-changing, really. I mean, like I said, it was a challenge to set up your own bank account out there and all those sort of things. I did have a host family helped so much. I still keep in touch with their family, but it's, it gave me a lot more confidence in myself to be able to think that I could do stuff myself on my own without having mum and dad there to help me all the time, because I had to do it on my own. I made some amazing friends from all over the world, some really international friends. And it was a really amazing experience. If anyone gets the opportunity, female graduate in your last year at uni, if you get a letter from the government to go on the Oralison Scholarship, apply for it, whatever you do.
Well, once that scholarship ended, there weren't any forecasting jobs available here on the island, but you did come back over here. You worked at M&S and then Manx Telecom, but then an opportunity did come up, just not over here. Where was it?
It was in Exeter. The UK Met Office had a training course, which is the one that if I'd have been taking on as a trainee here, you would get sent to Exeter to do the forecaster training there. So it was a course that I needed anyway, but I took upon myself to go and do that because there wasn't a job here, and it was something I really wanted to do. So I thought, well, at some point in the future I can always come back to the island. I need this course and this qualification first to be able to come back, so let's go over there and do that. And actually Exeter's a really lovely place. It's only about 15 minutes from the sea, which was good, so not quite so bad if I was homesick. Drive 5 minutes outside Exeter, it was green fields, so it was probably one of the best places to go for someone that was still quite a homely person, really.
We're going to talk more about that in just a moment, but tell us about the third piece of music you've chosen.
This piece of music is is one that often reminds me of, basically one of my friends sent me a DVD, and it was the DVD of Waking Ned, and it was when I was at university. And when I opened it, inside, the little note said, for whenever you're feeling homesick, watch this. And this is the first song. It's the Waterboys and Fisherman's Blues, and it's the first song you hear as they shoot in over the top of the Calf of Man at the beginning of the film.
I was a fisherman tumbling on the seas, far away from dry land and its bitter memories, casting out my sweet life with abandonment and love. Now ceiling bearing down on me, save the starry sky above with light in my head. You in my arms. Woo! I wish I was the brakeman on a hurtling fever train, crashing headlong into the heartland like a cannon in the rain, with the beating of the sleepers and the burning of the coal, counting the towns flashing by, and a night that's full of soul with light in my head. You in my arms.
The Waterboys, Fisherman's Blues from the film Waking Ned, a film that Kirsty Pendlebury used to ease the homesickness.
Yeah, it's one of those films, isn't it, that always makes you laugh, really. And so certainly by the end of it, I think even if I had been feeling sad and homesick, you'd been giggling so much all the way through, it made you feel a bit better by the end of it.
So we've just been talking about your move to Exeter to take up a weather forecasting training course. It does sound like it was a really intense course that you had to do there.
Yeah, basically it was a 14-week course. The first 7 weeks we did, and then we had a practical and theory exam, and then we did the next 7 weeks, did the same again after that. And once I'd finished that course, then we did a 4-month on-the-job training, which for me was at the UK Met Office Operations Centre in Exeter, so upstairs from where I'd been studying. And it was basically started off by sitting alongside a forecaster who was doing all the work, and then gradually you started to do little bits, and then it got to a stage where you were doing all of it, but somebody else was checking it for you before you sent it. And then I had to have 4 12-hour shifts with an assessor sat next to me, watching everything I was doing, checking I was doing everything right, that all the warnings were correct and everything. And then after those 4 assessments, I became a qualified forecaster then. So from the start of my course in the February, it took me until the December to become qualified. So it was quite a long and quite an intense time, but it was really good to be finally sort of doing what I wanted to do and put it into practical use and actually write forecasts for people as well.
And it needs to be that, because it is a job that has a huge amount of responsibility with it.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the whole point of the job is we want to try to make sure that people have the most up-to-date and accurate information on what the weather's going to do, and to keep people safe, really, especially in the winter. Obviously, we get some really severe weather, and it's just to make sure that people are aware of that and can prepare for that as well.
We've just been looking out the window here at the top of Douglas Head, and in a rather naive question, possibly, in the same way that somebody can read tea leaves, for example, can you read clouds?
Yeah, certainly different types of cloud tell you different pieces of information. And as I said to you, if you look to the left, we can see some blue sky still. And if you look out the right-hand window, there's no blue sky and lots of cloud. And that certainly looks like that weather system that's moving in, and we're going to bring some rain later on, is heading our way, unfortunately. Probably just in time for the practices down south, to be honest. That's probably standard time I would imagine it'll arrive.
Oh, and sometimes you do have to be the bearer of that bad news.
Yeah, you do. Do you know what? We always take the blame. Like, we always end up getting the blame when the weather's bad, but all that nice sunshine you've all been enjoying, I've definitely been involved in organising that, so I get the credit for the good weather too.
The Nation Station, Manx Radio.
Women Today.
And this is Conister Rocks on Manx Radio, and we're with Ronaldsway Met Office weather forecaster Kirsty Pendlebury today, and she's sharing with us some memories and music. So Kirsty, you qualified in Exeter at the end of 2011, worked there for a bit, and at the start of 2013 a very, very welcome opportunity came up.
Yeah, I finally saw a job advert for the forecaster at Ronaldsway Met Office. I looked at it, and it was looking for somebody with a bit more experience than I had at the time. I think it wanted 3 years experience. I'd been qualified about a year and a half. But I thought, well, might as well put my application in and see what happens, really. I was due to actually go off to Gibraltar for 5 weeks to work, or 5 months, to work with the UK Met Office instead, but that never ended up happening.
Do you remember the moment you were offered the job?
Yeah, Mum and I had decided to go out for a walk after my interview, and we were walking from Port St Mary along Guernsey, and halfway along Guernsey, just where the junction to Port Erin is actually, the phone rang, and I was like, oh my gosh, Mum, it's the phone. And I remember stood there and then answering it, and hearing that down the phone of, oh, we'd really like to offer you the job, and just being stood there thinking, oh my gosh, I've actually managed to get where I wanted. This is incredible, you know. And my dad was coming to meet us at the shore, and we actually stopped there, and I was like, Dad, I'm coming home.
Oh, and that must be hugely emotional, because you say you are so close to your parents, and you really do. Well, you say that you owe them so much in getting where you've got today.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be doing this job without having their support, basically. There's quite a few times over the years that I've lost my confidence and belief in myself, but they always had it. They never doubted it, and there was quite a few times they've had to pick me up and put me back on my feet again. And to the extent they went out and bought a Skype phone, so when I was in America, I could actually call at any time of the day or night to call and speak to them if I was homesick. So I really have everything to thank them for, really.
What do you do when you have achieved your dream at such a young age?
I'm still trying to work that out a little bit. I think that's been one of the hardest things. I mean, at the moment, it's been trying to be the best forecaster I can be, really. And there is so many quirky little local factors on the island that needs to be taken into account when you write forecasts. And I think at the moment I'm continually trying to improve myself and try to do as best I can all the time. Any forecaster ever tells you they get it right 100% of the time, they're clearly lying, because unfortunately the nature of the weather, you just can't do that. But it's good to try and get as close as you can to it.
And I'm sure people are quick to point out when you get things wrong.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I make sure I point out when I've got it right as well.
The Manx Radio broadcasts are an integral part of your job. How did you feel about that part of the job?
If I'm completely honest, to start with, I was really apprehensive about it. Not so much necessarily just the reading of the forecast, but also like the interaction with all the presenters and things as well, which is a bit overwhelming and a bit daunting to start with. But I think quite gradually, once you start doing it and you interact with those people and you know who they are and what to expect, then it's a lot easier now to do it than it was when I first started.
Okay, it's time for your fourth piece of music. Tell us about this one.
This one is one that always reminds me of my time at Exeter. Halfway through the training course, we went for a break for a long weekend down to Newquay to sort of have a chill out. The entire course went. There was 19 of us. I had 2 static caravans, and we went out for the night. And this song was really big that year, and it was played all the time. And me and my friend Katie at the time, we absolutely loved it. And after, as you do, one or two drinks, decided, this would be a really good idea. Every time you hear them say floor, we should do a squat. And we did through the whole song. Unfortunately, the day after, we really couldn't move, because if you listen to how many times she says the word floor, I think you'll understand where I'm coming from.
Let me introduce you to my party people in the club. If you go hard, you gotta get on the floor. If you're a party freak, then step on the floor. If you're an animal, then tear up the floor. Break the sweat on the floor. Yeah, we work on the floor. Don't stop, keep it moving, put your drinks up. Pick your body up and drop it on the floor. Let the rhythm change your world on the floor. You know we're running tonight on the floor.
Brazil, Morocco, London to Ibiza, straight to LA, New York, Vegas to Africa.
Dance the night away, live your life and stay young on the floor. Dance the night away, grab somebody, drink a little more.
Así mismo, así me gusta, así me gusta, así me gusta.
Tonight we gon' be it on the floor. Tonight we gon' be it on the floor. I know you got it, clap your hands on the floor. And keep on rocking, rock it up on the floor. If you're a criminal, kill it on the floor. Steal it quick on the floor. On the floor. Don't stop, keep it moving, put your drinks up. It's getting ill, it's getting sick on the floor. We never quit, we never rest on the floor. If I ain't wrong, we probably die on the floor.
Brazil, Morocco, London to Ibiza, straight to LA, New York, Vegas to Africa.
Dance the night.
Yeah, she says it a few times. I'm quite relieved you didn't start doing some squats here. I was a little apprehensive you were going to make us do that. But an interesting tune there. So at the end of this TT, Kirsty, you're going to be celebrating 5 years at Ronaldsway Met Office.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems, and I don't know, I don't work there, but it does seem like it's a very close-knit team.
Yeah, definitely. I really just think of the guys as part of the family now. Do you know what I mean? They've been great. They helped me a lot when I first started. Shared a lot of local knowledge and experience with me. Because a lot of that stuff you've got to learn once you're here and you're actually doing it. Obviously, coming from the Isle of Man, you tend to know that normally the airport's in fog and Ramsey's going to be sunny. But there's a lot of other little local factors that you don't always know about that you learn once you're starting to forecast for this island.
An infamous weather moment that is indelibly linked in many people's minds. I'm just going back to the idea of people blaming forecasters for mistakes. And that's Michael Fish in 1987 when he told people not to worry, there was no hurricane on the way. That evening, the worst storm to hit southeast England actually caused record damage. And I think it was 19 people, I think, were killed. So from a forecaster's point of view, how responsible personally was he for that?
I'm sure that he probably was feeling quite guilty about it the day after. I mean, there are situations even now, and it's on a much smaller scale, where people will call me and they'll be asking for something, whether it be rain because they want to concrete or go out and paint somewhere, and then unfortunately a shower develops like 5 miles off the south of the island and like drops rain everywhere, and that's going to obviously, even something little like that, you feel like you've let somebody down by telling them something and it not going right. But at the end of the day, we're only trying to give like the best information that we can at the time, and like I said before, it's not 100% accurate. I wish it was, and there are going to be times that it goes wrong. For example, this weather system that's coming in this evening, when I was in work the other day, it was going to happen on Saturday afternoon, then it was going to happen 12 o'clock today. The timing on it has been changing all the time. There are still errors in the computer models that we use, and it's not always going to be right, and that's why sometimes your apps aren't right as well. So it's always better speaking to us at Ronald's Way.
There's a lot of talk now about climate change and its impact on the weather. Is that something that you've seen in your time as a forecaster?
Yeah, I mean, when I did for my dissertation at university, actually, I did a little bit of a study on climate change on the Isle of Man, and I did find that over the 30-year period that I was looking at, the air temperatures had gone up by a degree, and the sea temperatures had as well, and the number of air frosts and ground frost had really significantly decreased over that time. So it's certainly something that I believe in, and I think that's happening. Obviously, everybody has their own opinion of it, but I think we're certainly seeing a lot more in the way of extremes, to be honest.
Reading the weather is a 24-hour job. I mean, you all work shifts down there. I mean, that must play havoc with your body clock. Yeah,
sometimes your body gets pretty confused whether you're meant to be eating or sleeping. But at the end of the day, I think you just most of the time your body gets used to it. It's just the pattern is the same. It rolls on every week, so you know when you're going to be in, when you're not, and you know when you try and program your sleep and when you're going to sleep best to make sure that you can like get through it. But it is difficult, and it's hard because sometimes you do feel like you're missing out on things because you are in work as well. But
you mentioned the fact that when you were studying, actually, there were more women on your course than men for the first time, which is brilliant. Is that still a trend that we're seeing?
Yeah, I think so. It certainly seemed on the courses at Exeter there was more girls than there were guys on there, and that was one of the first times there had been as well. And since then, there's still been quite a lot of girls going into science and into forecasting. So yeah, I think so.
When it comes to you switching off and relaxing, you've set yourself a little bit of a challenge, which I'm guessing is fairly weather dependent in itself.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to forecast the weather right to do it, aren't I? Yeah, this year I've decided that I really want to walk the whole of the Radnor in sections. On and off at times, because I enjoy walking on the Arm, but there's certain parts of the island of the coastline I've certainly not seen. I've seen a lot from Castletown round to like Port Erin, but to be honest, all the way down the east coast of the island is something that I've really not seen much of. So Mum and I have started with that. At the moment, we've done from the end of Ronald's Way's runway all the way around to the Sound. So the next section to do is the Sound to Port Erin.
I can't let you escape without talking about your little obsession with Midsummer Murders.
Yeah, I don't really know how I got into it, but I started watching them and I really enjoyed them. And the original ones with John Nettles and Sergeant Troy. And yeah, I had a bit of a thing for Sergeant Troy. I quite liked him. I always felt bad for how like Inspector Barnaby always seemed to be a bit mean to him and put him down quite a bit. So but I actually subscribed rather sadly to one of the Midsummer Murders magazine things.
Who knew there was such a thing?
Exactly, and you used to get a DVD sent through with it. So each week I had a book that showed you what Midsummer looked like, where all the different people lived and everything, so you could try and work out who did it.
There's no more to be said about that, Kirsty. It has been so lovely to have you with us today. And I managed not to ask you what the weather is going to be like for the next couple of weeks.
Actually, well, obviously minus the blip this evening. Tomorrow's looking good. Most of Sunday's looking good. There may be a bit more in the way of showers Sunday evening. And then actually as we head into practice week, it's looking pretty nice.
Oh, so we
wouldn't venture too much further than the middle of next week, but certainly at the moment it's looking pretty fair, and the temperatures out there are rather lovely, aren't they, when the wind's not too strong, so not bad at all, really. You have been listening to Conister Rocks here on Manx Radio, and this programme will be available on the Manx Radio website to download as a podcast. But to play us out, we are going to hear Kirsty Pendlebury's fifth and final track. What have you chosen and why? I've chosen this song because I've been to see this particular group quite a few times, 3 different times, with my parents. It's something that we always do. My parents have always believed in giving me memories rather than presents, so we would normally go and see different groups, and Take That is one of our favourites, and it was one of the first ones we went to, and we were sitting right at the very top at Wembley to see them, and just the words to this song as well are very special for me with them, but every time I hear it always reminds me of me and my mum and dad sitting up at the top of Wembley, and it's the greatest day.
Well, Kirsty Pendlebury, it has been a pleasure being with you this afternoon. Now get out there and enjoy the sunshine before the rain comes in.
Thank you.
Today this could be the greatest day of our lives. Before it all ends, before we run out of time, stay close to me, stay close to me. Watch the world come alive tonight. Stay close to me. Tonight this could be the greatest night of our lives. Let's make a new start. The future is ours to find. Can you see it? Can you see it in my eyes? Can you feel it now? Can you hold it in your arms Oh, stay close to me. Hold on, stay close to me. Watch the world come alive tonight. Stay close to me. Oh, hold your head high. Hold on, arms open wide. Yeah, the world starts to come alive when you stay close to me. Today this could be the greatest day of our lives. Today this could be the greatest day of our lives. And the world comes alive, and the world comes alive, and the world comes alive. Oh, 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 stay close to me. Hold on, stay close to me. Watch the world come alive tonight. Stay close to me. Oh, and the world comes alive, and the world, watch the world come alive tonight. Stay close to me. Oh.
The Nation Station, Manx Radio.
Women Today